Welcome back to the Ed Show. Thanks for watching tonight and staying up with us. Republicans are rewriting the rules once again in Wisconsin. Governor Scott Walker has started to implement his anti-collective bargaining legislation despite a court order blocking it. What does this mean for state workers? Well, the Walker administration is no longer collecting dues on behalf of unions and is now charging employees more for their health care and pensions. Those changes will start with the April 21st paycheck. Nearly 2 weeks ago, a judge blocked the law on a procedural grounds. The order specifically banned the Secretary of State from publishing the legislation, the final step needed for the law to take effect. So the Republicans took matters into their own hands. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald had the law published online by a different office. Fitzgerald told the Associated Press that the online publication means the law is now in effect. Conveniently, his brother, Assemblyman Speaker Jeff Fitzgerald, agreed, and the state attorney general is also backing up that claim. But the Wisconsin Secretary of State isn't buying it. He says the law has not been enacted because it has not been published by his office in the state's official newspaper. In the midst of all of this, we go to John Nichols for clarification, Washington correspondent of The Nation. John, good to have you with us tonight. He's on the phone with us because all the cameras are tied up in Wisconsin tonight. John, let me ask you, legally, do the Republicans have a leg to stand on in this one?
Well, not if you read the Constitution of the state and the laws of the state, which clearly outline a set of procedures that is based on the Secretary of State. The Secretary of State must order the publication of this law, and he has been told by a judge via a temporary restraining order that he cannot do so. So we have law professors at the University of Wisconsin, at Marquette University in Milwaukee, the Dane County District Attorney, the Madison City Attorney, basically every legal player in the state who doesn't have a tie to Governor Walker saying that this is not law. But Governor Walker and his Department of Administration is already in the process of implementing this law. So we're going to have a real clash here.
In the midst of all this recall conversation, this governor going full speed ahead, not paying attention to any of the recall talk and bound and determined to get this through. How is this going to play with the folks of Wisconsin?
Well, I think it's going to play very badly, Ed. In fact, it already is. There's going to be a court hearing tomorrow, and just about everybody believes that that hearing is going to be packed. There will be protesters outside, and everyone's focused on the fact that 1 week from tomorrow, we have an election for state Supreme Court that is going to be very hot because in many senses it's becoming a referendum on this.
And there is a chance that Walker could get an ally on the Supreme Court, correct?
He has an ally on the court right now. His mentor in the state legislature, now a judge named David Prosser. That judge is being challenged by a woman who is a deputy attorney general who's worked for both Republicans and Democrats. It's a real clear clash between someone who's a definite Walker ally and someone who wants to be an independent jurist.
Despite the court order, the restraining order, this governor moving forward, it's going to be a legal battle to watch. John Nichols, great to have you with us tonight to talk about the bigger picture. Joining me now is Washington Post columnist and senior fellow at the Brookings Institute, E.J. Dionne. The latest move by Walker is just the latest example of, I think, Republican overreach. And, E.J., you write about that. Who's going to be the beneficiary in all of this?
You know, I was listening to you and John talk, and I thought maybe Al Gore should just have taken the oath of office in 2001. You know, you don't like a court decision, you say, well, that doesn't count. Would have been interesting. You know, but I do think that this sort of move on the part of Governor Walker is part of a kind of win-at-any-cost process that's actually hurting them. For that column you kindly referred to, I interviewed a lot of Democratic politicians in the Midwest, and Governor Mark Dayton in Minnesota said that their approach to it, as much as the content, but the way in which they kind of rammed it through the legislature, had turned off a lot of middle-of-the-road voters who were kind of up for grabs on this issue. But the Midwest is well known. You know, Minnesota, Wisconsin, a lot of other states are well known for a kind of good government approach and a consensus-building approach. And that's the exact opposite of what they've been doing in Wisconsin. You think of somebody like Tommy Thompson, very conservative Republican governor, but he was a guy who liked to work with Democrats. There's none of that anymore. So I think this just adds one more piece of evidence to the idea that this is being rammed through no matter what the rules are.
And I think the public's onto it. You got Snyder in Michigan. You got Daniels in Indiana. You got this guy over here, Christie, in New Jersey. You got Kasich in Ohio. And, of course, we've given a lot of attention to what's going on in Wisconsin with Walker. I mean, is there going to be a backlash of independent voters that think that this has just been too heavy-handed on the middle class? And the beneficiary of all this could be President Obama.
Right. I was talking to a Democrat close to Obama last week who said that after the election, they were really worried about the Midwest because the Republicans, the Midwest played a central role both in the Republicans taking the House and with all these Republican governors.
Has that changed?
And what they were saying is this really has changed it. And the people who really moved are working class white voters, the kind of voters who voted overwhelmingly Republican this last time, partly because they were mad about unemployment. And they're looking at this and saying, this is not what I voted for. These folks still have some feeling for union members. Mayor Tom Barrett of Milwaukee told me, well, we've dealt with the Reagan Democrat problem now, and so I think these are former Reagan Democrats who are saying this is not our politics.
E.J. Dionne, always a pleasure, always insightful. Good to have you with us tonight.